That's what I think it is. My age bracket, that's what it is. Good morning.
We're in a circle of trust right now.
Are you guys in the good mood today, or is it going to be cranky like last week?
That was you.
My mom was like, wow, you and Tyler did not agree. I was like,
Notice she left me out of it. Thank you, Bonnie.
Because you know you're wrong.
That's good.
Can I tell you what happened last night?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Wait,
I went to Monique's house at 1:30 in the morning last night,
What?
and I saw 3 coyotes wandering through her neighborhood.
Yeah.
yeah, they do.
I've seen them
You
in
know
her
about that?
neighborhood.
And no, I'm not talking about the drug dealer coyotes, because isn't that a thing? Isn't that a name? No, like actual, like big. I was like, is that a dog? I was like,
They're
that's not a
not that
dog. That's a coyote.
I could be wrong, but I think the coyotes are actually people who smuggle humans across the border.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
drugs.
So they weren't doing that. Yeah.
But
Yeah, not drugs. Humans.
they didn't have a little
They have standards.
like Latino family following them.
Oh, you're picking up the beach chairs.
Yeah, because we're hopefully going to Tampa tonight.
Oh, I hope so.
That'll be fun.
I know, it's been a while since I've been over there.
All standby passengers, see me at the podium for your seat assignment.
Non Rev Lounge is a travel and aviation podcast. Monique, Lara, and Tyler are 3 friends that work for a major airline as gate agent, flight attendant, and ramp worker. During this podcast, they will discuss using their flight benefits to travel the world, as well as talk about things that happen at work. They have guests on almost every week to share their travels and stories, leaving tips on the best places to travel or things to do. Enjoy!
Welcome to the Non Rev Lounge. I'm Lara.
I'm Monique.
And I'm Tyler. And just like Casey Anthony, we are going to reintroduce ourselves.
Have you used that joke already, though?
I don't think
Yes.
so. Maybe to you.
Okay. Just to me. Okay. No, it's smart. It's smart rebranding. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It worked well for her. She got a lot of views on that.
Oh,
No, Lara had an experience this week, and so we're going to piggyback up and have a little bit different show, I feel like, this week. So let's talk about what happened to you, Lara.
so Carolyn and I went to our recurrent training, which we call CQ. No, but continuing qualifications. And so we went to Dallas, and we always go the night before so that we can relax and we're there and we don't have to worry about irregular ops or anything else. Then, so we get there. So we went to CQ.
Did
And-
you hook up with a guy from Alabama?
That was
It was Louisiana.
It was last.
Oh,
That was
okay.
last year when we had the priority pass, which I still have. Thank you. And we were running around all over DFW using the priority pass. We just went all through the terminals using that, and it was a lot of fun. But this year, we got on the plane, and I was sitting in the middle seat. Carolyn was sitting next to me, and we also went with a gentleman named David Hone, that's a friend of ours, and he was up here. And anyway, there's a cute guy came on. He's all muscular and stuff, and he walked by, and Carolyn's, and he sat down behind David, and then during the flight, she's leaning, before we've even taken off, she's leaning over, she's talking to him. He's talking to her. So then I lean over and I snap a picture of them talking, and he smiles for the picture. And then I sent it to Monique, and I said, Carolyn's future ex-husband. Remember that one, Momo?
Yeah, she's already getting alimony. It's great.
Well, anyway, it turns out he's a famous baseball player. And so,
Oh, she really is then.
yeah, the two of them cocktailed the whole way. I took a nap. The person who's been married all these years took a nap. But then right before we landed, she ran back to the back alley and got him 2 more cocktails, which he slammed.
Was
But
she in
anyways,
uniform?
No, we were.
She was just a random lady going back and grabbing cocktails
yeah,
out
but
of the bar?
We knew the crew. She knew the crew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She said, I need these.
It was fun. And we were not on deadheading. We were on business.
So did you drink on the flight?
No.
Because
You mean like I am right now?
felt like because you felt like you were flying, you were getting paid to fly, you shouldn't be drinking, or you just don't drink at 8 a.m, like Monique.
No, I had it. No, but
It's
our-
9, okay?
I'm joining Moni. I had a cocktail at the Escape Lounge because I've never been there. And so our friend David took us to the Escape Lounge. And it was really nice. And it has a beautiful view of the Phoenix ramp. They're RJs, but it was nice. I like the Escape Lounge. Have you
So-
been now?
We can go to the escape lounge from the party pass in the other terminal, in Terminal 3, but not the one in 4. So I have not been in 4.
Why?
It's just the contracts they have.
Okay,
so,
so-
for people like my mom, our mom that listens, what does CQ mean? Or just real quick, so they know.
It
'cause
just
you
means
said it, but
continuing qualifications. And so I'm recertified for another year as a flight attendant on all these different aircraft. So I got recertified on the 737, all of the Airbus that we have, the 777 and the 787. So now I'm qualified for another whole year to fly as a flight attendant.
Woohoo!
When Monique and I do our online training, do you also do online training?
Yes, every quarter I do online training.
And it's the same videos every year, it feels like. Do you feel like that, Monique?
Oh yeah, it's the same thing.
Is the things that you do at training the exact same every year? Or kind of like the pilots still like throw different scenarios at them? Do they change it up or is it the same for flight attendants?
They changed it up a little bit like during one of the evacuations when I was standing there with my hands, when I was telling people, I put my hand down and I go, jump and slide. And somebody comes up with a suitcase. And I thought that was pretty good. And I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, that's the proper term right there. That's
Well, they
what
don't
you're
care
supposed
what
to
you
say.
say. They just want you to. And then another time, the slide didn't open for me, and I had to manually inflate it. They did like a lot of little tricks like that.
But it's
So
a lot
were
of
you
pretend,
like-
isn't it?
It's all pretend. Yeah.
When you say manually, does that mean you were like down there like blowing it up like, oh,
Hold on.
Get down here and help me. No, there's like a little red inflation handle you pull, and then that will help.
oh.
If it doesn't, it's like on an Airbus and on the 777, the 787, when you open the door and it's in the arm position, pneumatic assist will kick in and push the door open, like swing the door open, and then the slide will pop out. Of course, that doesn't happen on the 737 because even though it's a brand new airplane, we're still using technology from the 1950s and taking the sidebar girt bar out and manually ourselves hooking it to the floor.
Sometimes when I do my online training, I don't pass my tests. I have to do it
The first
again.
time?
Oh, yeah, the first time.
Are you paying
But do
attention?
you pass it the second?
Oh, I have to pass it.
Are you paying attention to that?
But how many times does it take you to pass it?
You know that thing with the video from the casinos and the lady just like hitting the button like next.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Is that you?
Sometimes I'm not gonna say that because some people listen from our company, but that might be me. And so sometimes it takes me a time or two to memorize the answers and redo it again.
I'm not saying I do this, but sometimes some people may take pictures of the answers because you
Yeah.
can review.
Oh,
And then the next time around, well, because sometimes it used to take me 6 or 7 times to pass tests. And then my coworkers were like, dummy, what are you doing?
Just take a picture.
Yeah, because I would get like another one wrong. And I'd be like, dang it. So I'd have to do it all
Do you
over
ever go to
again.
Quizlet and see if the answers are on there?
Quizlet.
Is that what high school kids do?
That's
They
the
do.
college. They have like,
Other college
there was a
students
funny
do.
video that was said like, does it worry you that the doctors that are going to be your doctors in like 15 years are all on Chat GBT right now learning how to be doctors? Do you ever not pass your tests, Lara?
No, I always pass my tests. I passed all the drills the first time except for this one on the 787 because the particular simulator I was in, the trainer I was in, I opened the door and then grabbed the assist handle like I'm supposed to. And then the door, like I said, is supposed to like fling out. Well, it didn't move. So I reached it, pushed it. I pushed it against the fuselage, which you're supposed to do in real life. If it doesn't pop open, you're supposed to push it. So I pushed it. And she said, oh, you didn't wait long enough for the pneumatic assist to kick in. And so she dinged me on that. So the next day I was on she goes, this particular trainer, the door doesn't open the pneumatic assist doesn't pop out right away. So you have to wait a few more seconds. I'm like, well, why is that my fault? You're supposed to
Yeah.
get that door open and get everybody off the airplane in 90 seconds. If you're sitting there waiting for 5 seconds for the door to open, there goes 5 of your 90 seconds.
Do you ever do one of these where you're like, are you Sheridan? Do you ever do that?
Not to a girl, but it was a girl. She's Phoenix, based in Phoenix. I'm like, oh, you just wait, sister. You fly with me.
I will not.
So
be
she's
sharing
based in
this
Phoenix,
gossip with you.
but wait, so was she a trainer or she was just
Yeah, she's a
another
trainer.
flight-
Yeah, they'll
she's-
fly you out there for a week,
Oh,
and you can live there on campus and then do the training.
So
is
if you're
that
going through
something you
divorce,
would-
that's probably a great option.
oh yeah.
Maybe Carolyn should
Or
I'm saying
if you have a
pre-grad.
boyfriend in Dallas.
A boyfriend.
or girlfriend. So,
So
I
you,
was
you met a lot of new hires then, right?
Yeah. So the
Wasn't that part of
first
it?
day of training, we go to lunch in the lunchroom, at the big lunchroom, and all the new trainees are in there. And I scored the first day because all the trainees that were graduating later that afternoon were there for their lunch, their final lunch. And then all the trainees from the 2 other classes were there having lunch. And so I was running my
What do you mean you scored with new hires? I feel
because
like
the new
what
hires
you
were
said it-
leaving. Yeah, they left that night.
Okay,
I got
that
to
is-
see them before they left.
Oh,
So I was
that's a
able to
good thing.
pass out our business card and the staff traveler card like candy.
okay.
I was running through there, like I did with us during our meetup there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my crew went and sat down and started eating, and I just ran through there talking to everybody. I'd say, hi, welcome aboard. I said, I'm Lara. I'm based in Phoenix. Glad to see you. You look great in that uniform. When you get online, you don't have
Did you
to
let
put
him
your hair up.
know? Did you let him know we're never going to work together?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I said, hey, do you have the staff traveler app? And they said, no. And I go, oh, you're going to need this app if you're going to non-rev. Do you want a non-rev? Well, yeah, we want a non-rev. And I'm like, here you go. I go, and I said, and also I do a podcast on non-revving, and here's a card on that. Share it with everybody in your class. Share this QR code. And I was running around, and people were coming up to me, like the security guard came up to me and tapped me on the back, and I thought I was in trouble. And I turned around, and he goes, I want your business card. I go, okay.
Oh.
I go, do you have flight benefits with us? And he said, yes. And I said, oh, here's my card. Here's a card. Get this app, and listen to our show. So that's why we thought this would be a good idea for us to do a show, because they all said, oh, I can listen to your podcast and learn how to non-rev. And I'm like, well, kind of. But, people learn
you
about
can learn
bubble
about
cities
passengers' behavior.
from us.
Yes, so we're going to focus on that today. We're going to talk about, hopefully we can talk about what new hires need to know. But I'm hoping that the things we talk about real quick today can be just kind of a refresher for anyone. Because maybe you guys don't, but I assume if you listen to our podcast, you are already a good non-rever. But I don't know if that's true. But either you, just like the industry, we have a lot of people that listen that don't have benefits at all. Or if you do have benefits, you're a non-rev pro like we are. Like you get it. But there's people that I'm sure listen from all different new hires, people that have been forever. So we'll try to share what we feel is important. And we're going to kind of steal what Staff Traveler this week put something out of tips. So I screenshotted all of them that they put out.
Me
and
too.
so we'll use some of those and some stuff. I have some ideas that no one mentioned either. So at least I didn't see anyone else, but I think it's important.
Whoa.
So you can listen and to see if it benefits you and helps you be a better non-rev.
It is kind of funny. We were talking about something, and one of the girls, the trainer said, well, I haven't really non-rev there, so I don't know really how to do that. And Carolyn yells, well, you should listen to her. She does a whole podcast on non-revving. And she goes, you do? And I said, well, yeah, I'm a pro. I wasn't wearing my hat.
Well, first off, congratulations on being requalified.
Yes. Great job.
I know you get more stressed about that than I do anything in a whole year of my work in one day. Even though you've done it at least a dozen times, you passed. So
At least.
My husband goes, did you tell him you've done it 40 times? I go, no. And I got to see Beryl. That was the highlight of the whole trip, is I got to see
Aw.
Beryl.
do you plan your
Well, you guys
training
both
on
wear jean
Tuesday when she
jackets.
does cake?
Well, see, that's the whole thing. She goes, you just missed cake, because it was cake the day before. Because, once the training starts, it's just backed. And it's like, you barely have time to use the restroom. It's just, everything's so packed. And I
That's what
didn't
the
get out of
pool's for.
class till 8 o'clock at night the first.
You wouldn't know it from watching your social media because it looks like you just ride bikes around campus and you hang out at the bar and you play Big Spoon in the hotel. Like you would never know that it's so
Classic
stressful
flight
for
attendant stuff. Yeah.
you. Yeah.
And we were riding bike. And I made them ride a bike over to the other campus. And they're the other side of the campus. They're like, no, let's just walk. I go, we're riding bikes. And they were just too.
I mean, well, that's what the Xanax will do. It just makes everything a little bit easier.
All right. So let's talk about tips and what we think for if you're new hires or so. Who wants to start?
Well, I'll start, but I think it's what Lara already touched on was, I think it's important. You call them bubble cities, but is it kind of like, I call them pocket cities when I was thinking about it. So let's say you need to get to another hub. Sometimes those flights are really full, but if you go to a small station, those flights may be wide open. So you can kind of hop from your base to a smaller station and then onto another hub. And makes it a lot easier sometimes. Yeah, you have to make a stop, but then you're getting to where you need to be.
Well, yeah, that's an important thing. If you're going hub to hub, it's really hard to non-rev on that. And this is like a whole thing. So if you like, for instance, Phoenix to Dallas is always really hard to get there. If you're going to Dallas and you want to be in Dallas because you want to go on to Rome or somewhere else, then you could always go from like Phoenix to El Paso. There's your pocket city, or Austin. And then one time when I was coming out of Philly, I was working the flight from Philly to Cincinnati. And then I had like a little layover in Cincinnati. And then we flew from Cincinnati to Phoenix. And I had a ton of non-revs from Philly that were trying to get to Phoenix. That's how they got there. They used Cincinnati as a pocket city.
Yeah, I think going to see Zachy once, we went through like Des Moines. Like it was just a tiny little airport, and we just hopped off, got on the next one over.
You just got to think outside the box. Yeah.
Don't assume that, yes, there's the nonstops, but there's also, and that's what helps with our airline being so big. I remember when we merged, that was one of the nice things is you were adding like 4 more huge hubs, which added more connection options. Because when it was just like us and the East Coast, but now that we had like Dallas and Chicago, now we have more connections to get to each of those. Look at those options as that's a good one.
Well, do you remember back in the day, the airline that I started with, they used to have a magazine in the backseat pocket that had our map around
Yeah,
map. And so there were a lot of times during flights we would sit and look at it and be like, not necessarily study it, but when we were like, oh, okay, like we fly here, like maybe that could be a good, like maybe we go through Pittsburgh sometime, or we just kind of like got to know our routing, like what is open to us.
Yeah, knowing, I mean, you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to work in route planning, but just knowing where you fly and what connections. And it helps when we're at the airport because we see what times planes take off, when planes come in. So, I don't know, they change seasonally and things, but you can see, oh, there's a plane that comes in this time or leaves this time. You can go, okay. And then you can start looking up, and because depending on what airline you work for and the system, when you list them, sometimes it'll show you those and sometimes it doesn't. Like you have to go through and type in, I want to connect in Pittsburgh. And then like, you can, but it's the next day. So that's that. Or I want to connect in Raleigh. I want to, some of these smaller cities that they may have a lot of frequency. So maybe you can hit there and then hop on another one and still get to where you need to go pretty quick. So
and let's talk about that.
A lot.
Luggage touches on like know your airline's
Rules
policy
and connections.
Rules. Yeah, so then you can take the most advantage of what your rules are.
Correct. Yeah.
No, that tip right there, Monique, is my biggest one. Is every airline has different policies, and even though they may seem similar, sometimes they're not similar at all. And so you got to find out where. Like I remember when I started U.S. Airways, I would print it out and I would have it with me, so that if there was ever someone that was like, you can't fly like with these basketball shorts, and I'd be like, where does it say in there? Like your airline is going to have your rules all laid out. The time that I was in San Francisco, and I remember the manager was like, have you read it? And I was like, yeah, I read it. Like I read it like a couple days ago. I just want to stay up to date on all of them. And there's so many things in there that can be very different. It'll help you. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing it so I can kind of skate through, like, I can work the system, but I feel like it's not even that. It's just you are allowed to do certain things. And if you know what those rules are, then you can not maybe get you a better seat on the priority list. Because like Lara said, maybe your airline connecting is a big thing and maybe it's by seniority, but you can know there's so many little things that are so different with every airline. Some airlines, you can be checked in for a ton of flights. It's just all by seniority. You can be checked in for multiple flights. And other airlines, you can only be checked in for one. So you need to know what your airline's policy is for that. You need to know, can you wear shorts in first class? Usually.
Can you wear ripped jeans? Because on our airline, you're not allowed to wear ripped jeans.
Yeah. So everything, little thing like that. And how can you know what the things are? Like, can you have 24 hours in a city and still help you in the priority? Like, that's a big thing. Can you check golf clubs for free or beach chairs for free, or are they going to charge you for it? I mean, that's something that you should know that is going to help. So it would be nice if it was just we were representing our airline, we could stick to our policies. We could go through each of them and say, do this. But because depending on what airline you work for, I would really get into those policies and find out, how can this affect me? How can this benefit me? Is it going to benefit me to go through another city or take the nonstop? And when is checking? Do you want to check in right at 24 hours? Because that's important. Or do you check in? It doesn't matter. You could check in on the way to the airport, and maybe a jerk thing to do, depending on the airline. But what can you do? What's going to benefit, the most benefit for you to make sure you get a seat on the plane or
Yep.
whatever?
If you can read, you can succeed.
I think we're just finishing up, and this isn't just for new hires, because I'm sure the airlines I know our airline does it a bunch. They add policies, they change policies. So if you haven't in a while, I would get on and just read through it. And if it doesn't matter, like I think this isn't gonna, knowing the policies, it's just gonna make you a better at non-revving on your airline. And so I would suggest you just keep up with it, just glance through it, see what changes there are. Maybe they do something that will make it easier for you to get a seat or get a better seat. Because if you know those things, you know that, oh, if I can go through here. Like, for instance, I'm going to tell a story about our friend Nicole, who just got a job with a different airline than she was with their vacation passes. Once you list it and you check in, you can't change it.
Oh,
And so
really?
she flew from like Miami to Cleveland, getting back to Chicago because the nonstop was full, kind of like your bubble city. And then she gets to Cleveland and she wants to add another segment on, and they say you can't change it. So to go from Cleveland to Chicago would be another vacation pass,
oh,
because, and she
that's
just
right.
hadn't looked into those things yet. I know ours is like you get 14 days and you get 4 segments, and those are things a lot of non-revs in our airline don't realize, that you get 4 segments in 14 days. And
Yeah.
so they don't
on one
consider
vacation pass. On one vacation
Yeah.
pass.
on one, not so. Like, I remember Andrew, he was one of our very first guests. He works for our airline now. He worked for, I think, SkyWest before. But on one vacation pass, he flew like to Brisbane from Dallas, and then he flew from Tokyo to New York, and then
Wow.
JFK to South America somewhere, and then back to Miami. He did like 4 lay flat long haul flights on one pass, and they were all within 14 days. He knew the policies, he knew how it worked. So learn how your vacation passes work, your everything, your how to price things, like learn, and all that's in your policies. Just go through and find out the loopholes of each thing and how you can use them to benefit your travel.
Well,
I know if
you're
I
the-
would had a job with, if like SkyWest and I had Delta, American, United, Alaska, I would know all of them, because I would want to know when I'm on that airline, how can I use that to my benefit, whatever their policies they have, and make sure that it's going to benefit me.
when I was doing a Richmond flight, I had to use a vacation pass to go from Phoenix to Charlotte and Charlotte to Richmond. If I had driven to DCA, I could have had that same pass, booked it, and then go from DCA back to Phoenix. And that would all been on the one vacation pass.
That would be 2, because you can't, with ours, you can't return to the city you started from.
Oh, well, then I could have just gone to Tucson.
Yeah.
You and I talked about it, and we had it figured out.
Yeah. So you learn about those. So I think that's a big one. And that wasn't one that anyone put on the staff traveler one, but I think knowing your airline's policies is going to benefit you.
I have one, I think, for especially crew members
Oh, yeah.
that are non-rebbing. From a gate agent's perspective, if you look the part, if you look like a crew member, even if you're not my crew, you're going to get away with more. Meaning there's a chance you may be able to board early. There's a chance you're going to be able to have more carry-on allowance than we actually allow if you look the part. That goes for my crew members and other airlines that are flying on us. If you look like you're supposed to have that much, most likely most agents are going to allow it. They may not. I can't guarantee everyone is, but for the most part, if you look like you're supposed to have that many bags, we're going to let you. If you're in street clothes, it's going to be a hard no. You get your allotted amount. But just, that's my little tip. If you have that extra bag because you're commuting or whatever, look the part. Look like you're supposed to be able to have that much, and there's a good chance they're going to allow you to have it.
Absolutely.
I know I'll see other airlines, flight attendants or pilots flying, and the flight attendants will give them a bottle of water. And I'm like, I work for our airline. How come I don't get a big bottle of water? But I'm not in uniform. So that's good.
That's really true. We do give the other people bottles of water.
But I look thirsty. If you see, I'm just sweating like a pig all the time. I should get that
Yes.
bottle of water. So a couple of them were like, try the first flight of the day. I think that's
That's a good
always
Always
if
start
it's
early.
available. If you can. I mean, it's not.
And why do you start at the first flight of the day?
People sleep in. They always miss that first flight.
Roll over. Roll over.
Yeah, they're gonna keep as there's flights that are delayed coming in. They're just gonna keep pushing them to later. So if you can, then yeah, try the first one of the day. Like I said, sometimes like the only one we can try is the late one because you want to work. You have to work for the day, whatever. But when it's available or you can, yeah, try that first one of the day. That's a good one. What about the check-in bags compared to carry-on bags? I was trying to think. Why do people always say that?
Well, because
Because we don't trust the ramp to get your bag where it's going.
No. that's not why. It's because if you want to change your mind
A little
and
bit.
maybe not go to, like if I can't get into Richmond, but now I've checked a bag to Richmond and I'm going to go into Norfolk or DCA. Now my bag's going to Richmond. So somehow I got to get to Richmond to get my bag.
And then internationally, it becomes even harder to change once you have a bag check because positive bag match, like you really can't change your mind if you're going internationally and you already checked a bag.
Yeah, I know that I would say it should be your goal to always carry on. When you have kids, like I've had kids, I've had them, I have them, I still have them. It's hard when you have car seats and you have strollers and you're going for long periods of time and you've got diapers and everything that goes with that. But it's just everything in with non-revving and standby is flexibility, right? You want to keep as much flexibility as possible. And like Lara said, when you check a bag, remember last year when we went to Punta Cana and we checked a bag and it went to Miami and then it was supposed to go on, but I wanted our airline had sent it a day earlier because we were going to overnight in Dallas. And so all of a sudden our flights filled up and I'm like, okay, now we're going to go to Orlando and then we're going to take JetBlue, but our bags were in Miami and it's an international. So we have to be with our bags. But I didn't want our bags to be in Miami. I want them to be in Dallas to go to Orlando. So when you check a bag, and our friend Brittany that commutes to London, she has to check bags because she goes for so long. She can't just carry on. But that means that she can't be flexible. Like she can't fly here to LA to go to London. And then all of a sudden those flights are full. So she can't just be like, now I'm going to go to Boston because her flight, her bags. So yeah, carry-on bags when possible, I would say is your best. And so I really appreciate it, gate agents, that they know that we're non-revving. And even if we get the last seat and they're forcing people to check bags, they'll be like, just go ahead. Like if they can get yours, because they know that once they take that bag and put the bag tag on it, we lose our flexibility because then you have to go claim it. Or like you said, you can't just go and say, to a gate agent or your ticket counter and be like, just roll me to this one. Like you said, I'm now going to go this direction. And it's like, well, your bag's going the other way. And if it's domestically, it's not as big. It may take a day or two to get to you, which still sucks. But if it's international, you're just kind of hung out because you have to be with that bag. So,
And if you're a non-rev, they will not deliver that bag to you. So you will have to go all the way back to the airport to get it, wherever you're at.
So,
And if you are looking for a serious, like a backpack that you can backpack for the weekend with, you should check out on Instagram our friend Standby With Me. He's got a lot of bags that he looks at occasionally and tries to figure out which one's the best for non-revving. So check out his Instagram.
he's got a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
Well, you even found that you prefer now, if you had to do car seats, to take the car seats all the way to the gate, and then you don't mind checking them there once you know you're getting on.
You're getting
Because
out,
didn't
yeah.
you guys have like kind of a fiasco where you guys had checked them, the flight had canceled, or there was something going on where
There
like
was something.
now your car seats aren't with you, and it was a pain to get them back, and so because you used to always just check them right up, just saying let's just get rid of them, it's too much to carry.
Yeah.
But you were like, now we'll at least take them to the gate, and then we can like valet them and check them. We don't have issue with that, but just because just anytime you check them, it just causes.
Yeah, you
little
lose
bit
the
more
flexibility.
stress.
And
Mhm.
a lot of times it's not a big deal, but yeah, of all of a sudden you have to change. So we have in the last year, I've been working towards carry-ons. We've got some new, really nice ones, and we're probably going to get a couple more. And so now, even when I took the boys for 2 weeks to Asia, it was all carry on. So, lights, we had a washer in the first place, but we just didn't rely on check bags, which it probably would have been fine just looking at that. But if things would have changed, then it's just nice to have them with you.
And then we go to the next point. One of the points I really wanted to point out was don't leave the gate until they've closed the door of the airplane and the airplane is pushed back.
Do you know why that is?
Well, I know what happened to my son Drew. He called me from LA. He goes, I'm number 34 on the wait list, and the flight is full. I'm not going to get on. I'm like, you stay right at that gate. And at the last minute, a bunch of people that were connecting from Asia didn't show, and they just started grabbing non-revs, writing down their names and throwing them on the plane. And he was number 34 on a full flight. Got on.
It's because gate agents often have a hard time counting. And so they miss how many seats there are. And so that if you just stay there, once they can figure out their math, they may have open seats.
And what say you, our gate agent?
Well, I would say even wait till doors closed, it's pushing back. Because I had it where I was trying to get Zachy back to Chicago and we went to Orange County. You guys remember this? And someone had left something at security. And so he got off the plane and we were standing there and the gate agent was like, he's taking too long. Like, so they put Zachary on and left the guy that went back to get his lost item.
And didn't his wife stay on the plane?
Door had been something like that happened. Yeah. Cause I remember, but he was not supposed to get on. Door was shut. He came off the plane and Zachary got on. So you just never know what's going to happen. Sometimes people get sick. They change their mind last minute.
Stay in the boarding area.
So, because if that door opens back up, you're going. Let's go.
There's even some extreme stories of the plane returning to the gate for whatever reason. So they pull a sick passenger off. Or didn't you have someone that was acting kind of crazy and then all of a sudden they threw another non-rev on, or, I mean, something like that. So it is kind of extreme, but if you're just hanging out there for a few extra minutes, working on your plan B, what's my next step? Sometimes you get lucky, but yeah, stay until they close the door. If you can. I mean, if your plan B is a flight that leaves in 30 minutes and you know you're going to get on that, so then do what's best for you. But
so you're saying always have a plan B?
No reason to go to the bar when they're like, there's still a chance.
There's always
Drew Ketterman and his friend was on my buddy pass, and they got cleared for New York. And then they said that they had a PT hold and they let all the passengers off. And he and his friend went to the bar and had a drink. And then they went back to the gate. Plane was gone. And they didn't have as greatest seats on the next flight. And they had to go to Newark instead of JFK.
Or even just like Miss Bonnie Crick, they weren't boarding. So she went to the bathroom and then got back and the plane was already gone.
They filled that CRG up in a hurry. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bonnie. Jeez.
Another one.
Can I give go ahead. Go.
Kind of similar to yours. This one is just go try. Just try. Yeah. Even our parents are going on a cruise. They're leaving tonight and their connecting flight tomorrow. The first one is -1. And of course they're going to try because it's a negative. Yeah. But I'm like, you're going to get on. You're 2 or 3 on the list. I think there's someone ahead of them. You're going to get on. Like it's a big plane. There's going to be misconnects. Sometimes, even if it doesn't look great, like you said, Lara, your son had negative, like it was 34 on the list. Just show up. And then I know it's another with kids, it's harder because it's like I'm dragging kids, or I know when Monique was on my benefits, like trying to get Monique to go to the airport when it didn't look good was kind of hard sometimes. But there's so many times that you get on flights that you would like, I never thought I was going to get on that flight. But if you're there, you will be surprised. Especially if you work for like Frontier, because they'll have like oversold by 20 and everyone gets on because they sell tickets for $19 And when you only pay $19 for a ticket, it's not too big a deal to not show up because it's like, what are you out? So just show up, just go try sometimes. And you may not get on, but you'll get on. That's what I always like. If it showed 0 seats, I felt very good. When it started getting, the more negative it gets, the more I go. And different airlines to help, and different destinations too. Because some destinations are not as much business. And so it's like, if you buy a ticket, you're going to go. Like Spokane. I feel like that was pretty true. But when you're flying like hub to hub or LA or New York, they just have so many business travelers that just don't show up or they take the later flights. So just go try. I think it's a big one.
I was going to say, so another like gate agent tip would be that, so the door's closed, it's pushing back, you're not on it. If you know your plan for the next flight, that's perfect. The gate agent will just most likely want to roll you to the next one. But if you have something else in mind, let them know. But don't ask them to find your plans for you.
Oh,
So if you have your plans, you go to them, you tell them, they'll be more than happy to put those in your reservation for you, get you all set up. But don't expect them. It's just, we have a lot going on. So to ask us, what does it look like going through here? I don't know. You tell me where you want to go. It's going to make that process easier. And then I was going to say too, if you have a connection as well. So let's say you're traveling to a hub and then you have a connection on, make sure you mention that to the agent as well. Because our first thought is just getting you to that next location, right? Like a lot of times we forget that you may have a connection that needs to be looked at as well. So don't forget to let them know, because if it's not looked at this point, it may drop off and you may lose anyway. So it's just important to let them know kind of your whole plan, and they'll get you all set up.
Good idea.
Now, soapbox done.
If you're a new hire and you're looking to put someone on, so say you don't have a spouse and you have that open position, open spot,
I have a daughter.
you better make sure that it's not just a fling.
That's a good one.
That's actually very good advice.
Because with the airlines I've worked for, it's a 12-month commitment. Like once you put that on, you can't just be like, oh, we broke up. And so now your person you broke up with is on your benefits for another 11 and a half months. Was it even Connor? It's like he didn't put his fiance on till the last minute just to make sure that it's like real. But that's kind of a joke, but kind of serious. But the bigger thing is, make sure the people that are going to be flying on your benefits, if it's buddy pass, if it's your parents, if it's your kids, your spouse, your mistress, whoever it is, make sure they know your expectations, because the last thing you want is to get someone that is on there that is causing trouble and possibly going to either lose your benefits or even lose your job because they're yelling at a gate agent.
You can lose your job. Yeah.
Yeah, or they're asking people to switch seats. I don't think our airline enforces that, but I told that. Have I told that on here? I had a friend that works for SkyWest, and he had buddy passes on a Delta flight, and they just casually asked to switch to sit by each other. The people switched, but he got pulled in the office, and they said that's not okay. He lost his benefits for 3 months.
Wow.
So they better know. So if you're going to give your buddy pass to someone, you better make sure that they know to keep their mouth shut. You don't ask questions. Like if there's going to be questions or a possible do a different route, then you better be able to make sure that you're helping them. Like they're not they're not, oh, they said I was going to have this seat. And so I just make sure whoever you give those benefits to, they know what they better do. If it's what they're supposed to wear or when to be at the airport.
Or how they're supposed to act.
Exactly. So that's,
Well, right. Yesterday, I had a non-rev family that I feel like I did a good job taking care of them, got them all in the exit row. Anyways, they came up to board. 2 of the girls had their bags expanded out. So they were too big. So I was explaining to them, I was like, hey, if you girls can zip them up, you guys are more than welcome. Take them on. If you can't, we're going to have to check them. And one girl, we can't check these. And the other one goes, yes, we can. We want to check them. And it just made me laugh. Like the 2 different, one was not quite sure how non-revving worked, and the other one was shut your mouth. This is what we do. We say yes, and that's. I mean, not to say you can't question a little bit, but just one new, like, for sure. If they say you're checking it, you say yes, ma'am. Let's do it. Anyway, so it just made me laugh at the two different non-revs.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's
it explained to those people that are using your benefits that it's a privilege. I mean, it's a privilege that we have
Yeah.
as an employee. We can lose.
and you could lose that, or even worse.
Lose your
That's something
job.
I would do is just make sure that they know what's expected of them. Yes, they get to fly. Hopefully they get on, but just like they let them know that the pros and cons of non-revving too, of flying standby on your benefits, so that you
So a
don't
follow up. Do you remember the follow up of that story about the coming in from Hawaii going on to Philly?
No,
The
is
girl
there
with
a-
her brother that's in the lavatory. So can you just issue the boarding pass?
Yeah. So I was talking to my partner who worked it with me, and she said she followed up, and all of the dependents and all the guest pass are completely removed, and it just says travel benefits suspended next to their name. So it happens. Like, you can lose your benefits over
Wow.
not even you doing something, but people on your benefits causing something or doing something. So, but that's what I was like. I would have maybe murdered my kids if they did that. Don't use this
Yeah.
in court, but I mean, maybe.
Even if they get to keep their job, that's lucky. But I mean, they were stealing from the company by doing that instead of paying the whatever it is, the fees for the buddy pass. Not just like they get better priority, and so yeah, and I don't. Maybe the parents knew, maybe they didn't. They're the employee. I'm assuming it was the parents.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure that you people the flying know, because you could lose a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So the biggest one we haven't talked about, even though we mentioned their name, is Zeding, and
Which stands for
and
Zonal Employee Discount. You're welcome.
so I think this is for everyone, but I shouldn't say. I know that for most airlines, you can't Zed until you've been with the company for 6 months,
Or
right?
after
That's
probation.
pretty standard.
Or after probation.
You can get hired on probation.
So you can't use that until you're off probation.
You mean company probation, or
Company probation.
okay?
Like, not state probation.
Not like you have
then
an
you
ankle
can't leave the
monitor.
neighborhood.
No, yeah. So
Sometimes when
you
I see him
can't-
at the airport, I'm like, how did you get here? Sorry.
but the using those benefits, and honestly, I'm so cheap that I would much rather fly our airline, but I know that it opens up the world. Like I recently talked about back that trip. Almost all the flights I took on that trip were Zed fares.
Okay,
I flew
so
on
let's-
Southwest, on
we
Korean,
need to
on Asiana. So
but they don't know what
I
Zed
was
is
able.
yet. Tell them what Zed
Yeah.
is. Fine on other airlines,
So-
but at a rate.
Yeah, so your airline will have contracts with other airlines to say, you can fly on us, we can fly on you. And so you can stand by on other airlines for a very reduced fare. And the fares are set by how far you're going, and then different levels with agreements.
Zonal.
So for
and
instance,
how friendly your airline is, because some people's have even better agreements than others.
Other airlines, yeah.
that's- So for instance, when I flew from LA to Korea, it was about $99 per person for that 12-hour flight. It's in the back. It's a standby seat, but you were able to fly to, and our airline was full or oversold every day because we don't have a lot of flights to Asia. Some airlines like United flies to Asia constantly, just tons of flights. We don't have that, but that doesn't mean we can't go. It just means that you're going to fly on United or another airline that can fly those routes. And so once you get to that point, don't be scared to look, and don't be scared to go do it. Yes, it's a little bit more money than free. And in the States, we get so used to like just flying for free, but it really isn't that expensive compared to like what someone else is paying for that seat. I mean, all those flights with my kids to Asia, we flew all those Zed fares, and it was like $900 for all of them. So it's like $300 a person for all those flights back and forth. I mean, that's kind of crazy to do a big Asia trip for $300 a person.
Exactly.
including the taxes. I mean, that's all built
That's
in.
like almost a cheap domestic flight. I mean, round trip.
And
yeah.
then
Oh, yeah, exactly.
learn once you have the benefit, there's the Z, we call it Z, zonal employee discount. Once you have that benefit, every airline is different. So you need to explore them. For instance, on our airline, we list on a different tool called My ID Travel. Is that what it's called? My ID Travel. But I know that if I was to go on another airline, like let's say United, I have to buy it from ID 90. I have to buy the ticket from ID 90, and then it gets placed into this other program, My ID Travel. So
Yeah.
you just have to know. So I had someone text me the other day saying, "How can I buy this ticket? I'm in here and I have 20 minutes to this flight, and I can't see where to buy the ticket." I go, "Oh, you got to go to My ID Travel, or no, my ID 90. You have to go to ID 90 to buy the ticket, to buy the Z ticket, and then you can list it."
Yeah. So that's another thing, kind of like those policies. Learn how to do those. I wish it was easier. Like when I list on Southwest, I list and that's it. Like you list, you check in, you're there. With other ones, you got to list and you got to list again, and then you can check in. And other ones, it's like list, like you said, Lara, and then you go to the My 80, and it's like 3 listings, and
Well,
then
British
you can check in.
Airways.
It's like,
Tell them about British Airways.
yeah, theirs takes longer. You got to list, and then you got to go to their page and put all this stuff in this certain website. And then I feel like it feels like hours, but maybe not. And then they'll email you back and say, okay, you got your listing. So I know some of them, those big international ones, they'll say it has to be done 24 hours in advance, which means if it's even a possibility, it's on your radar, list for it, pay for it. If you don't fly it, they get your money back.
And here's
Yeah,
another good
It is
tip.
really pretty easy to get refunds on those.
It is easy.
Oh, yeah. Much easier
Yeah.
nowadays. In the old days, you have to like mail in your paper tickets, and then 6 weeks later, all of a sudden you'd have some money back on your, not anymore. Yeah. You just hit refund and your money's back. So you can list for tons of flights, all your backup plans. And once you get on one, all the other ones, you just refund. So
And a good point is, I know some people, they go, "Oh, I'm not giving my email address to anyone." Okay, put your email address in there and put your contact phone number in there, so they have it. So you'll never know what could happen. I've had gate agents call my kids because my kids put their phone number in their listing and said, "Where are you? We're holding your seats for you."
Wow.
Don't be afraid to leave your phone number and your email address so they can get a hold of you. So like Tyler, well, no, not Tyler, because he didn't have his passport. His passport was today. But Monique and I, remember we got it cleared for our seat the day before on another carrier by email.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They emailed us our seat assignments, but not you, Tyler.
thanks a lot, Lufthansa.
Well, another point too is if your parents do pay, sometimes the Zeds are almost as the same price or pretty similar to what they may pay on your airline. So I know like for our parents coming down from Salt Lake or going back and forth for Phoenix is pretty close to the same what they pay on us is on Southwest. So it's almost 6s. So whoever has the better time, whoever has more flight, like seats open, the more choice, because you're saying, well, I'm still paying, but I'm paying almost the same price. I might as well do one that fits my schedule better.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it could open up your flight. Your airline may only have 1 flight a day or 2 flights a day. If you look at the Z fares and options, you could have a ton more options. And even if, like I've said this before, our last flight say you want to spend the day somewhere, the last flight has 8 seats open. It's got seats open, doesn't look amazing. It's got a few seats open. The next flight after that on another airline has 80 seats open. You have a good backup. You're still going to chart at your airline because it's free, because there's another flight later that you don't have to rush out of there. You can enjoy the day trip or whatever you're there and still get back to where you need to get to, because there's other options. Yeah, you got to pay a few dollars, but is that worth it to you to spend another day on your trip or with family or whatever you're at? So let's talk about how we get those loads from other airlines, because we can look up our own loads. We talked about a bunch. So if you're new here, this is where you got to find them. And Lara gave you the business cards, but it's our friend's Staff Traveler. It's the app that lets you know lets you get loads from other airlines quickly.
And there's a
And
million
so you
people.
can know.
And there's a million
Are
people
they up to
on
a
there.
million now? That's bonkers. That's awesome.
Well, after what I
Yeah,
did in
so-
Dallas, there's a million people.
1.1.
And even if you're new hires, this is another thing, you're not new hires. It doesn't work for Monique and I, but you can jump seat on other airlines, which is you still list like a Z fare, right? But you just
Yes.
click a different box saying, "Don't charge me, let me fly for free."
You
And
click the
you
box
guys
that
get
says
that,
flight attendant commuting.
and you guys get that immediately, right?
Mhm.
So like, is for
You're-
Z fares, you're waiting 6 months.
Oh, you guys can
We
do the
can
commuter immediately?
immediately, you can jump seat.
Wow.
That's kind of nice.
So yeah, so your family can't Z for
Yeah.
the 6 months and your dependents, but yourself, you can. So another reason, especially if new hires are going to be based somewhere that's not home from them, which I think is fairly common. You're
It
starting
is.
off somewhere else and you're going to be commuting and you're going to want every option available to you, not just
Can you hear? Sorry, they're doing our yard right now, literally outside the window. Sorry. Can you hear it?
mow and blow and go.
Yeah. It's very.
Well, let's finish. I have to
Sorry.
leave in 5 minutes to go to Lola. So yeah, you get on Staff Traveler and you can get those loads, even if you're just brand new to the airline. It may just be yourself, but it's going to help you commute to work and home from work. And don't just assume that because your airline's full, you can't get somewhere, because you can Z, you can get loads, you can get where you need to go.
You can ask directly about each flight, what it looks like. And then you can also, if you're wondering, because you are new, you're wondering, okay, I need to get from Phoenix to Boston. You just type in those city pairs and it'll populate how to get there and with who you're allowed to fly. And I think that's pretty cool. And then you can ask, what do the loads look like, and get a good idea for it. And also your dependents are allowed Staff Traveler access with your permission. So your dependents can also use Staff Traveler, which is a big godsend for you, because if you're flying like me up in the air, you're answering your dependents' questions. They can look it up themselves on Staff Travel, which is nice. I spent some time with these new hires explaining because they have no money, they're just starting. I said, if you go out of the country, you should get that eSIM card, because you can turn it off and on for a whole year. And that'll help you keep current with everybody on the telephone. So that was my advice. The dependents can also join Staff Traveler and get that eSIM card.
But do new hires need it in Fargo?
But some of them will get based in Dallas, and they'll get that. I just had a brand new guy go to London the other day because somebody called out sick at the last minute.
Well, sometimes they go to El Paso and they may cross the border for a few hours, so they may need it there.
They could.
I think hopefully these have been good tips for everyone. Do we want to tell something real quick about non-travel for new hires from each of our work groups? Monique, you said you had something for new hire gate agents, non-travel related. Real quick, go.
Yeah. I would say learn from the more senior agents. They know tricks and workarounds that you may not know. Like it took me even a couple years to learn that we can actually see the pilots when they have to have wheels up and they time out. And for me, that was like, what? We could actually look at that. So there's different things that they don't teach you in training, but we have access to. Learn those things. Learn how to maybe change a seat 3 different ways, because when different systems go down or things happen, you need to know how to work around them. So don't be afraid to say, hey, how did you do that? Show me how you did it. Because most of the time they're going to be more than happy to show you. And it's going to come helpful later on when things happen.
And for new hires, for flight attendants, keep tuna packets, cup of soups, and protein bars in your lunch bag, because you will be somewhere and you will be hungry and you will not have access to food. Oh, and large sheets of foil, fold them up and put them in your lunch bag so you can heat it up.
Good. So mine is, hopefully, I'm assuming a lot of people that get the job maybe not flight attendants. It seems like more of a career, but they get a job for flight benefits. But just know that whatever your friends tell you about the job, it's probably going to be a little bit worse. Or whatever you see on Instagram, it's probably not as good as that. Like when you see Lara does London once a week, just know, like when he joked, you're not going to get London once a week as a new hire. I even talked to flight attendants that have like 30 years or 25 years. And I'm like, oh, do you know Lara? And they're like, no. And I'm like, do you London? And they're like, no, like, I can't even get close to holding London. And these people have 25 years of seniority. Seniority is big and you have to put your time in. I sit in the bag room and do nothing, but I also have put my years in to get me to a point where I can do that. Monique holds better stuff than a new hire would. Maybe not too much better, but there's just like, when people say, it's so easy, we don't do anything. Yeah, that comes, but it's not usually. You have to go in and actually do some work. But if you're willing to do that, the benefits that come with it are a lot of fun. And I think our one good tip that I'll leave is our friend Luke from Standby Secrets, or Matt, he said your benefits are part of your compensation. And so use them. That's what we don't get paid as much as lawyers and doctors, but we get free benefits or flights, so go use them.
Don't be scared.
Right.
And
Amen.
Momo, you said to try for their first trip, they should try just a day trip.
Try.
I mean, yeah, like I think Tyler said, get your feet wet. Try those little ones at first, kind of get comfortable with the process.
Like
how
you and
do
your
it,
mom.
and then you can expand from that.
If you're a new listener, you can listen to last week's where she talked about she and her mom went to Santa Barbara for the day.
Yeah. And if you get stuck, you can always rent a car and drive back. So if you want to do Paris, but
You can't drive a
it may
car
be
back.
good
But Monique has driven a car back from San Francisco.
Oh.
True.
All right. You want to close it so we can go?
I was
Go
going to say something real quick too. You can do a trip with almost anyone for 2-3 days. So if you're in your class and you like these people but don't love them, but they have a trip, they're going somewhere you want to go do it. You can handle people for almost 2 to 3 days, almost, especially if you're going somewhere cool that you want to go. So I say take the trip, even if they're a little bit weird.
Take the
Go
trip
use
and
the
get
benefits.
some patience. That's a good point.
Have a few drinks.
All right. If you want to reach us, you can find us at the Non Rev Lounge podcast at gmail.com. Stay safe.
Bye.
This has been Non Rev Lounge. This episode was sponsored by Staff Traveler, which is the #1 app to get your non-rev loads. It is used by over 800,000 people from all airlines the world over and built to make your non-rev trips easy and stress-free. Sign up now for free at stafftraveler.com/non-rev lounge.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that
no, what
Monique.
about-
Hold on. Is Monique frozen? Can you see her, Lara?
She's either frozen or she's asleep.
Oh,
Momo.
now I am.
I think
Momo.
her eyelashes glued together.
They are glued together. Momo. She's asleep. There she is. Hi, Momo.
Do you hear our jokes about you?
No, hit me. Let's go.
You're
I'm ready.
frozen like this.
You mean
We thought you
just
were
look like I was
asleep.
looking at my boobs.
No, your
Oh.
eyelashes. And we thought you were asleep.
Lara said, "Is she asleep?" I said, "I think her eyelashes glued themselves together because your eyes were closed." Like you're like,
When I used to work late nights, we would go sometimes to IHOP at like 1 or 2 in the morning when we got off. And I was there with my friend Shelly that's been on the show before.
Oh, I know. Sean.
And there was a woman kind of seated a little bit behind us. And she had eyes painted on her eyelids. And so she was kind of sleeping over there. And Shelly was like, that woman is looking at me. And I turned around and I was like, I think those are painted on or something.
Oh, weird.
Anyway, she ended up dining and dashing, but she left her shoes so they would think she was coming back, but she did come back.
And she still left her shoe.
Yeah.
Oh, the things
Pro
you
tip.
see at 1:30 in the
leave your
morning.
shoes.
Yeah, because then they think, yeah, you're coming back, but you're not.
That's weird.
So don't leave any good shoes.
Yeah.
If you're dining and dashing at IHOP, you've got some problems in your life.
And things you see at 1:30 in the morning.
True.